Welcome to Women's Sports Weekly, where women's sports happen every day, but we talk about it once a week. I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Danielle. Women's Sports Weekly is a podcast where we discuss the latest news, explore interesting stories, and share our love for women's sports. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Women's Sports Weekly Pod. Follow us and rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Send us an email at womensportsweeklypod@gmail.com, and we may feature your email on our Listeners Experience Zone, the Les.
It was Pride Weekend in Denver this past weekend, and woo, it was a lot.
I would say this is one of the more tame Pride weekends we've had, to be completely honest. But yeah, still exhausted.
It's just a marathon. I had multiple conversations with multiple different friends of why do we do this to ourselves?
Well, it's our once in a year big celebration for our community, you know?
Exactly. And it almost feels like we need to, for the culture of it all, we need to show up so that people see us out, and not in a way to see and be seen, but like the numbers is important. And so you want to show up because it is important. And at the same time, it's 3 days of nonstop events.
All sorts of events too. And it's fun and it's a lot. The heat was offensive this weekend as well, which made it even more difficult.
Yeah. I also saw many unwell people on Sunday. You could tell the weekend got to them, and I was like, no, it's time for you to go home. And then we had to do that as well. But yeah, just too much drinking, too much sunlight. It can really put you in a bad way.
Yeah. Luckily, we were not so much in a bad way.
No.
So we took care of ourselves. But yeah, some people were looking rough out there.
So Friday night, we went to a dance party at the Summit, not associated with the NWSL Summit team, an event space. They had DJs, and we went with friends, and then Run Club friends were also there. And as per usual, I had most of my fun at the pregame.
It was so much fun. And this was a Sapphic party here in Denver. So lots of women at the event, which we love. But we met up with a bunch of our Run Club friends prior. And pregame is always so fun. The dance party was also a lot of fun. And we saw so many people out and about. Just love that. And I had a few drinks, so I was giving out a lot of hugs. So I'm sorry if I hugged someone too strongly.
Too strongly or too frequently. No, you were great. We went to a pregame at a bar before we went over to the Summit, and then we headed over to the Summit, and there was a line to get in, but we had tickets, so we just had to get through the line. But we've been on lines before for Pride that were like an hour and a half long.
Which felt like 3 hours, honestly. Yes. And I got nervous when I saw this line.
Yes, because the line was down the block, but it was moving. But Danielle was like peak, just at that right amount of drunk, and you were like, I'm getting a 12-pack for all of us.
And shout out to Anne, who came with me and split the 12-pack with me. But by the time we got back with the 12-pack, we were pretty much at the door.
At the door entrance. So we're just handing out the 12-pack of Truly to people. People are drinking it down. I'm taking sips and then giving it to someone next to me who also comes to Run Club every once in a while, but she wasn't really out with us that night. The vibes were really, really high. Everyone was so happy. I heard someone this past weekend be like, yeah, Summit was just really cool because you move through a group of people and people step out of your way when you're moving through, and everyone just lets you do what you want to do. And yeah, that's what I just love about Pride Weekend and spaces, especially like Sapphic spaces like that, where, you know, vibes are high, energy is good, and no one's trying to be mean.
Absolutely. We, had to rally the next morning. Ooh. You went to Yoga on the Rocks, which I do not know how you woke up at 5 a.m. to do that.
Yep.
And I woke up, I guess, 2 hours behind you to go do the Denver Pride 5K, again, with some friends from Run Club. Shout out to everyone who was able to, one, be at Summit on Friday night, including myself, and then run the 5K in the brutal heat of that day. But you had to wake up early first for Yoga on the Rocks.
Yes, and Yoga on the Rocks is yoga at Red Rocks. I teach yoga on the side, and one of my very good friends, Kendall, was teaching Yoga on the Rocks, and I just really, really wanted to be there for her. So we got to bed around 1 a.m. on Friday, and then I woke up at 5 a.m. to make sure I could get to Yoga on the Rocks on time. Did that from 7 to 8 a.m., but Kendall just did so well, and so I'm really happy I did it. I came back immediately and went right back to bed. I was like shaking while doing yoga, like had nothing felt right, when you drink a little bit too much and nothing can cure you. That was me on Saturday. But
you also got zero sleep. It wasn't just the drinking. 4 hours of sleep after drinking. Brutal.
It was brutal, but I just can't bounce back like I used to. We talk about it all the time. There's just no bounce back anymore. But again, giving a lot of people credit who got up for that 5K too. And for you, got moving. You ended up running 7 miles on Saturday. So as much as it was like a marathon of a weekend drinking, partying, it was also a marathon of a weekend for mileage.
Yeah. You were like, how are you getting to the 5K? I was like, I'm just going to run there. We share a car. I'm also training for a marathon. And I did my long run earlier in the week, knowing this weekend was going to be what it was. But I was like, I don't feel great, but I'm just going to run up to Cheeseman. And then afterwards, I ran back home. So yeah, I was feeling actually really good after the 5K and after I got back because vibes were high. Everyone was so happy. I kept telling you I was amazed at how many people do the 5K. I've always wanted to do it, but we usually go out on Friday nights and I just don't have it in me to get up. But shout out to Claire who organized it with our run club and encouraged a bunch of us to get out and do it because it was a lot of fun and I'm happy. And it was just so great to see people walking, running, all types of people out there and just celebrating in different ways. And I just loved it. And I got back and was feeling good. But I definitely hit a wall. But we did go to our friend's house for a party for a little bit. And I'm glad we made it. And then we stopped by the 99ers. After that, but we were in bed, I think by 9 on Saturday night.
Yes. So we went to a day party at a friend's house. Shout out Maria. We stopped by there, but we weren't our best selves. We're still struggling. And then we wanted to stop by the 99ers because they had their back porch area and then they had the side porch area. So we stopped by there and then we looked at each other and we were like, it's light out and it's time to go home.
Yes.
And so we made it home pretty early on Saturday. I'm just also so amazed by the amount of lesbians, sapphic, queer people out and how many there are of us in Denver. I think that was really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
Like we're everywhere. We're everywhere.
Yeah, totally.
And that kind of brings us into Sunday because Sunday we went to drag brunch. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but the drag queen was like, lesbians, welcome out of hibernation. And it is funny because like we do kind of hibernate and then we just come out and really show our support during Pride. That's what we do and we show up. But I just love that there's just so many pockets of us and just the amount of women in Denver, lesbian women who get together, I just think is really incredible.
I absolutely love it. I loved the parade Sunday morning. We were feeling great because we got so much sleep the night before. We were in shade. We're just really feeling our age these days, but the parade was so fun. And yeah, drag brunch was so fun. And then it was 90 degrees and we were outside and I was like, my legs hurt. I must go home. We went home and I put the recovery boots on and I'm like, this is mid-30s.
Yep. And it's so funny. Shade during the Pride Parade. I mean, 3 years ago, I remember we were at the Pride Parade in the blazing sun with my cousin and a bunch of other people, and we didn't care. And this year, we're like, this shade spot is so amazing. We could stay here all day. We pretty much watched the entire parade.
Yep.
Went to drag brunch. Love the drag queens.
Yeah.
Just love them so much. You caught
a
drag bouquet.
The one queen literally from across the room just turned around. No warning. Just whipped a bouquet. She was like in a drag wedding dress.
Yeah.
And I just snatched it and she turned around and came waltzing over and gave me this huge hat with this insane veil.
So great.
That thing weighed like 10 pounds on my head.
And you were like, this is hot. And I'm like, imagine how the drag queens feel. Yeah. They're in like a full beat of makeup, so much costume, and just working so incredibly hard. So that was really fun. We were with our friends Lex and Sarah. Last year, we went to X Bar after drag brunch and just went out.
And I thought that was going to be me because I have off this whole week from work. And I was like, I'm going. But once I was in that heat, I was like, Carolyn, my feet hurt. I'm so hot. I need to go home.
Yeah. And I was happy too. I was like, let's do it. I don't want to feel like crap on Monday and Tuesday. Like I can't have a 2-day hangover like I do most prides.
Yeah, no. And I got 10 hours of sleep Sunday into Monday, woke up, ran 6 miles and feeling great. But I would also like to share that in not so fun news, we had our pride flag stolen off our porch. So there's been a lot going on. We've been in New Jersey. Well, I've been in New Jersey for a week and you were there the weekend prior because my sister who's getting married, Amanda, shout out, had her bridal shower, which was so fun and lovely. And then I stayed the week because my poor dad had open heart surgery and he's recovering and doing great now, but it's going to be a long recovery. So thinking of him, but I stayed home leading into his surgery to be there before he went in. And you had a work trip.
Yeah.
And
I was out of the state.
When we were gone, we both came home. We both at the same time realized our pride flag was missing from our porch. And we were like, wait, did the wind blow it away? And I was like, no, that was on really good hooks. Like, I don't think the wind could have taken it. So we have a ring. Look on the ring. And some of you who follow our personal accounts saw this. A man came up on our porch and ripped our pride flag. And we had these curled hooks. He really had to pull, and he literally ripped the hooks down and straightened them out. It was obviously out of anger that he was pulling our pride flag down. So we got it on camera. We posted it to our Instagram stories because we were like, I don't think people realize that this stuff actually happens. Like, you just see it on the news or you don't see it at all because that's not what your algorithm shows. And it's like, no, this happens to people you know.
Yeah.
And we were just pissed because I'm like, what is wrong with people? So that was the low light of Pride Week. And I was like, well, people are just still so angry and disrespectful. It's really sad. But my sister Amanda sent us for Sunday. We came home from our events and I was like, now what did we get from Amazon? Because I never know what we order. And you were like, did you order a new pride flag? And I was like, no. And we looked and it was a note from my sister Amanda who sent us a new pride flag, and we have it back up. So thank you. That meant a lot to us. And especially on this weekend, it was nice to throw that back up.
Yeah, we needed it back up. Thank you, Amanda. That was so incredibly kind. That's an ally right there.
Yeah.
I think it just points to this broader environment that we're in, that it's just okay to be hateful again. And I think that's really sad. But I was like, buddy, you're just making me gayer.
And what I kept saying is, if anyone needs love in their lives, it's him, because he's clearly so angry and miserable that you have to go tear down someone else's property. Yeah.
And we live in the city, so it's not like we live in like...
And there's pride flags everywhere, and it looked like he had a bag full of flags. I couldn't really tell on the ring.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a bag full of his belongings or a bag.
No, if you really zoom in, it did look like other flags were in the one bag.
Yeah, we don't know. So that was a low light, but it didn't stop us. We loved even harder.
Yeah, you know what? I found that out on Friday, and I gave a lot of hugs Friday night. So that guy can go scratch.
And we might have learned a lesson that we're going to probably take our pride flag down at night, which
is
sucks.
sad.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't need to do that.
But I don't want my property stolen, and flags are more expensive than they should be.
Yeah.
So it's coming down at night, but it's up during the day.
Yes. But once again, great Pride weekend. Happy June. Happy Pride Month. By the time this episode releases, it's already July, which is just insane. Summer's already going by way too fast. But love you all. We love our listeners. Happy Pride, whether you're gay, queer, straight, whatever you are.
Bye.
I said, I will, you know what? I can't even
Should we say them all?
All encompassing. Whoever you are, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. We just love you.
Correct. Happy Pride. All right, let's get into some sports. Let's get into the highlight reel. Go ahead.
I also forgot to mention, we have to... Just one thing. We saw Callie out at Pride. And Callie is the first person, 2 years ago, who saw us out at Summit and came up to us. We didn't know who she was. And she was like, I listened to your podcast. And we were like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then she ran away. And like for months, we were like, who is this stranger that saw us and recognizes us in the wild? Since then, we have become friendly with Callie. Sometimes she comes to Run Club. We see her at the 99ers.
Yes.
We saw her out and got a picture, and we were so excited. So can't go without saying that.
That picture might not ever see the light of day, though, because, again, peak drunkenness.
Yeah.
Poor Callie.
But we did see Callie, so shout out to you.
Yes. First person who saw us in the wild, and we were like, do we have people who listen to us who are outside our friends and family? That is awesome.
Yeah, so that was the 2-year anniversary of that, which I thought was really funny.
Love. Okay, now let's get into some sports. Let's talk about the NWSL. So during this little break for the World Cup and international break, there have been some signings. And as regular season of the NWSL resumes this week, I want to talk about where some people are now playing. So Ally Sentnor went from the Kansas City Current to Angel City. Angel City sent $850,000 in the intra-league transfer to Kansas City for Ally Sentnor. She then signed a contract extension through 2029. Ally Sentnor plays for the U.S. Women's National Team. I do think this is an interesting move from Kansas City to Angel City, mostly because Angel City struggles as a team, and the signing at Kansas City was like a big deal. But we do know that players have to approve their trades now in the NWSL. So she agreed to this. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on this moving forward. On top of that, Reale was traded from Gotham to the Boston Legacy for $350,000 in allocation money plus $50,000 in transfer funds. She is the reigning Rookie of the Year. She returns to her home state of Massachusetts and also signed through 2029. This is important because this made some space for Sam Kerr to sign with Gotham through the 2030 season. Sam Kerr returns to the NWSL as the all-time leading scorer. She still holds it.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy? And she returns to play with Gotham. She's played with them before under Sky Blue. And so she's coming back to Gotham and she's playing. We thought maybe she was going to Boston.
Or Denver. There were some teasers.
I know. But Boston got Reale. Gotham gets back Sam Kerr. And yeah, very exciting. Probably we'll see her at some point in July.
Yeah, I really hope so. That'd be awesome.
So that's your NWSL movement. Emily Sonnet signed a contract to stay with Gotham. So there were some things that happened as well for people to continue their contracts. But the NWSL is back up and running this week. I'm so excited.
Yes, it's been too long. We also have to talk about Marina Mabrey switching over to the WNBA. I will just say, I have loved Marina Mabrey for a long time now, even when people didn't know who she was. I even saw her play in high school once.
That's awesome.
Back in New Jersey. Yep.
It's really crazy to me because last year Marina was unhappy. She was moving around to teams, trying to get out of her Connecticut Sun contract. Yeah. And we were kind of like, what is she doing? Is this okay? Yeah. Is this going to hurt her career? And she lands on the Toronto Tempo and like, shit.
Sandy Brondello is a great coach, and she, I feel like, gives her players the confidence where they need it to just play the way they play. Yeah. And that's been very obvious with Marina, at least. I mean, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but I do feel like part of that is how Sandy coaches.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I think good coaches look at their team and say, okay, how can we use the players that we have and really mobilize around them? And that's different with every different team of who you're going to utilize and how you're going to utilize them. And the way that they're working with Brittany Sykes and Marina Mabrey and hoping that Brittany Sykes returns this season with her injury, I just think it's really cool. We see this a lot in the WNBA where someone plays on a team, they don't get a ton of playing time or they get some minutes and then they go to another team and they just get utilized more and utilized in a different way. And you're like, oh my gosh, this player is an amazing player. So let's actually get into this. Marina Mabrey matched the WNBA scoring record with 53 points to help the Toronto Tempo beat the Los Angeles Sparks last Thursday night. 53 points. She tied the scoring record set by Liz Cambage, which is like, whoa, throwback, because she was in the league. She was playing for Dallas at the time that she scored 53 points on July 17th, 2018. But Liz Cambage has gotten pushed out of the league because she is a dirty player. In any league she's in, she's just a little bit of an issue. However, worth the follow on Instagram because she's DJing in Europe all the time.
Okay.
She's beautiful and she's so large, just takes up space in this beautiful way. And so she's an interesting player. So it's funny that she has 53 points. And also Asia Wilson scored 53 points in 2023 against Atlanta. Marina Mabrey also tied the WNBA record for 3-pointers with 9 in this game. She had 18 attempts and she made 10 of 12 of her free throws in 32 minutes.
Yeah, and with that, this was her second game with 9 3-pointers in the week. She also pulled this off in Friday's win over the Connecticut Sun. So she's just on fire.
With this game and the 2 games before, so over a 3-game period, she totaled 113 points, the most in a 3-game span in WNBA history.
That is awesome.
Marina Mabrey needs to be an all-star. By the time this episode comes out, the all-star teams will be announced. So they said by the end of June. And I hope fans voted for her because she was not in the top 20 of last Wednesday, so a week ago, in the WNBA's report. And then she scored these 53 points. But she's just been having an amazing season even before these 53 points. She deserves to get voted in by the fans. She wasn't in the top 20. And all-star voting for the fans is interesting. I don't know. There are people on there that I'm like, they should not be on there. I think the Caitlin Clark effect and just people's passion for the Indiana Fever puts them on there. But hey, if they're fans voting, they're voting. And we, as other fans, need to do better at voting as well.
That's a great point. So with that, let's talk about how the All-Star voting actually works.
Yes. So fan voting is 50% of the total weight used to determine the WNBA All-Star starters. The remaining 50% is divided between the current players at 25% and a media panel at 25%. So even if you don't see your favorite player through fan voting, you will probably see them through media and current players voting. The players are then ranked by position, guard, and front court within each of the 3 voting groups. And then the player's score is calculated by averaging their weighted rank from the fan votes, the player votes, and the media votes. So they get a score based on that. The 4 guards and 6 front court players with the best score are named as starters for WNBA All-Star in 2026. And fan voting serves as the tiebreaker for players in the same position group with the same score. Once the starters have been determined, the league's head coaches then select 12 reserves. So this is also an opportunity to get some more players in, not just based on fan voting. The 15 head coaches vote for 3 guards, 5 front court players, and 4 players at either position, regardless of conference. And coaches are not allowed to vote for players on their own team. So that's how we get our all-star roster. I'm very excited to see the makeup this year.
Same. Cannot wait for All-Star Weekend as well.
And we'll get more into it once the all-star roster drops.
Yes. Sticking with the WNBA, we have to talk about the Portland Fire versus the Washington Mystics. The Washington Mystics won this game on Sunday night, 124-123, and this game went into 4 overtimes. 4.
We were like running back from brunch. We hung out a little bit after brunch and we were like, oh my God, this Portland game's in its 4th overtime. Let's turn on the TV really quickly.
I thought I was seeing things. I was like, there's no way this game's in 4 overtimes. And surely it was. This tied the longest WNBA game on record. The other 4 overtime game was July 3rd, 2001. And that was Washington versus Seattle, where crazily the score was only 72-69.
Oh my God.
I don't know how that score was so low in 4 overtimes.
Great defense, I guess.
But the game lasted over 3 hours. The total duration was 3 hours and 35 minutes. Talk about a marathon.
You could tell the players were tired at
Hell
the
yeah.
end. They were like cramping up.
Speaking of cramping, Sonia Citron, who had 32 points, and she ended up hitting the basket that won them the game with 21.4 seconds left. But when we were watching, she was hitting 2 key layups, but she was cramping up. I'm like, how is she still on the floor? She's limping all over the place. And I can't imagine how they all felt.
Yes. Sonia Citron limping, still scoring baskets is just really amazing.
Yeah, she's unbelievable. And then also for the Mystics, you have Michaela Onyenwere with 30 points.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know she scored that much.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And she's been hurt for the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Like, she hasn't even been playing. And then Kiki Iriafen had 27. And with this, the Mystics became the first team with 3 players scoring 27 plus points in the game.
That's awesome.
Portland was actually led by Carla Late, who also had 32 points, and she was the one who sent the game into its original overtime when she banked in a 3-pointer with 0.4 seconds left.
She's an underrated player. Between these two teams, between like Sonia Citron and Carla Late, amazing, amazing players that don't get spoken about enough.
Yeah, I did feel bad for her because at the very end of the game when they lost, she missed a foul shot. So she made the first one, missed the second one. So then they were down by 1. And then with like 3 seconds left, they called the timeout and she had a little floater and it bounced in and out. And she had the last 2 shots of the game that unfortunately did not go in.
Yeah. And you can tell in her body, like she was so exhausted, and I didn't see her cry, but it was like that almost like racking of like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So that was rough.
And before she went to the foul line, she got hit hard and her back was in a lot of pain. So I just can't imagine how banged up all these players were who were playing. And then you have Sarah Ashley Barker, who had 25 points. And then you have Megan Gustafson with 20 for Portland's. Overall, the game had 21 ties and 12 lead changes. There was a lot of back and forth through each of the overtimes, making it a battle. And just insane. And then sadly for the Mystics, Georgia Amore left with a right knee soreness. This is the same knee she injured last year and she did not return to the game. So I'm hoping good things for her in the next coming days.
Yeah, same. That's rough. I just want everyone to be healthy.
I know. Injuries suck.
But what a game. That was really awesome. There's so much talk right now of things that are happening in the WNBA. And I just want to emphasize that there's so much great stuff happening too. And that's why we're focusing on Marina Mabrey and this quadruple overtime game, because these are the stories that I think are really, really important and show how great the WNBA is.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Let's get into some updates from us.
Yes, starting with Run Club. We have Run Club this Thursday and every Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain here in Denver at the 99ers Sports Bar. Each week, if you listen to our podcast, we share a secret word. If you share the secret word with the bartenders after our 3-mile run, you will get 50% off your first draft. The secret word this week is Mystics.
We also need to take this time to ask you to please rate and subscribe to our podcast. Your rating, your subscription does so much for a small podcast like us. We cannot put enough emphasis on it. So if you listen to us, please, please, please rate and subscribe to our podcast. It makes such a difference. And if you leave us a review, we love you, because it really helps our podcast reach more people. The more reviews we have, the more ratings we have, the more subscribers we have, means that we reach more people. That's how kind of the algorithm works. And we're trying to figure out this algorithm. We create, produce, and edit the podcast ourselves. When you give us a positive review, when you share it with the people you love, you give us a little bit more gusto to continue doing this, because we do this for free. Thank you to everyone who has rated us so far. If you send us a screenshot of your 5-star rating, you can send it via DM or to our email, womensportsweeklypod@gmail.com. We send you a sticker for free in the mail. Let's get into our deep dive for this week.
Yes, we're going to talk about something we don't talk about a ton, and that is women's golf, because there is a lot that's been going on and very positive.
Love it. Don't know much about golf, besides that I caddied for a summer and was in the best shape of my life.
Yeah. And I come from a family who loves golf, my dad's side, including my dad. The guy will golf every day. He loves it.
I mean, right into heart surgery, he was golfing every day leading into it.
The day before was his last day of golf for a while, but he was going every morning. So we're going to focus today on the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. But before we get into the tournament itself, we do want to talk about what this overall championship had represented, and leading into this championship, just basically this whole year of what's been happening in the golf world. So this tournament actually featured a record-breaking $13 million purse, which is the largest prize pool in women's golf history.
Love that.
Yes, snaps for that. This is part of the LPGA record $132 million in total prize money this season. So as I said, this year has been a record year for women's golf, and overall prize money this season has been more than they've ever seen before in years prior. And overall, it's just really an incredible sign of where the sport is headed and where all women's sports are headed, because we continue to see growth, and with that growth in money, which is great. Along with the money growing, viewership also continues to climb. Earlier this year, we saw 2.2 million people who watched the final round of Nelly Korda's U.S. Women's Open victory. This was a 78% increase from the previous year.
Yeah, Nelly Korda is someone who's really utilizing her social media well and is an amazing player. I also like all of the golf girlies are putting their tees in their buns. Have you seen that?
No.
And I'm like, oh, this is so cute. And I love it, because men's golf, they're not in their bun era. So none of them have that. And I just love to see all the little tees, and they make it look cute. And since 2020, the number of women playing golf in the U.S. has increased 45%.
And with this growth, we're also seeing a lot of growth with younger players, and more than half of the increase has come from women under 30, and nearly half of all women golfers are under 35. So it's also seeing bigger audiences, as we said, more girls are picking up the game, and then you have more money flowing in. And the championship this past weekend felt like a culmination of all of that momentum, which was great.
So what happened in this tournament?
Yeah, so let's get into the tournament itself. There was a breakthrough performance from Haeran Ryu, who captured her first career major championship. She finished 13 under par, winning by 2 strokes.
Okay, so for us. What does 13 under par mean?
Each course has a par, like what they determine as what you should get as a score. So in golf, the lower the score, the better. So if you go up to your first hole, it will say like a par 3. So they're saying we project that you should get the ball in the hole in 3 shots.
Yeah.
So add that up across 18 holes. Each hole has a different amount of pars set. Out of all the holes, whatever that score was, she hit 2 under.
Okay.
I'm doing great explaining
You are
this.
doing great, and there's just a lot of hole talk, and I'm okay.
Yeah, thank you. What makes this really cool is her winning looked very unlikely after day 1. She opened with a score of 73 and was tied for 70th place after day 1. She sat 10 shots behind the first round leader, Ina Yoon, who had a tournament record of a score of 63 after day 1.
Amazing.
And then Haeran Ryu became the first major champion in at least 60 years to overcome a double-digit first-round deficit to win.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so obviously she had a great day too. This victory also continues South Korea's incredible success in women's golf. She became the 6th South Korean player to win the KPMG Women's PGA Championship in the last 12 editions.
And then Ina Yoon finished runner-up, which must have just been heartbreaking after being so far ahead, while Brooke Henderson and Dewey Weber tied for 3rd.
And then you have 3 Americans, Allison Corpuz, Austin Kim, and Allison Lee, who shared 5th place.
We briefly mentioned Nelly Korda before, but it was a frustrating finish for her. She ended tied for 8th after a difficult weekend. She was trying to become just the 3rd woman to win the first 3 majors of the season, but couldn't quite put it all together for this tournament.
Yeah, and shout out to all these women for withstanding the tournament, because on Sunday the conditions weren't great and it did not make it easy. There were a lot of thunderstorms, which delayed the play by 3.5 hours. And as everyone knows, if you have a set schedule for something and you're delayed for that long, that has to mess a lot of things up.
Yeah.
This also left players to deal with soft fairways because of the rain, gusty winds, and a long wait before teeing off.
Do you want to play golf?
I was just going to say, I really wish that you and I would get into golf more, because I played before and I always have fun, and I know it takes a lot of practice and I have a lot to learn, but yeah, I would like to play golf, but we just do too much.
We do too much. And I want to start playing tennis.
Well, same, Carolyn. I keep saying, can we pick out tennis rackets? And you have an opinion on which ones we need to buy, and you haven't bought them yet.
I just feel like golf is a really frustrating sport, and I know tennis is too, but I have a little bit more practice with tennis. Like, I understand it a little bit more, and I just feel like because golf is such an individual sport that I'm going to throw my club if I played, because I just get so frustrated.
You also are going to throw your racket, so I think either way we're doomed.
Yeah, and golf is probably better on my knees than tennis.
I want to play both sports, but we do a lot right now, and I don't know where we're going to find the time.
Maybe in retirement.
If only.
If we ever retire.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into what we're looking forward to this week. Danielle, what do you have?
Back to the WNBA, the Atlanta Dream take on the Washington Mystics this Thursday, July 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on League Pass. Check it out. What are you looking forward to?
The NWSL is back in full swing, and the Denver Summit take on the KC Current this Friday, July 3rd at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NWSL Plus. So looking forward to having some women's soccer back on, even though I've been loving the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, that is it for this week. We will see you next week on Women's Sports Weekly. In the meantime, watch Women's Sports and share the podcast with your friends. Rate and subscribe to the pod on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us.